Hello everyone, I'm here with another video for the Cycles plugin for 3ds Max. This video will be covering Cryptomatte, which is a new feature that was added to the plugin recently, and I'll be going over how to use it and why you might want to use it. So first of all, I'll explain what Cryptomatte is, and that is this set of extra render elements here. So if I go to render elements, you can see these top three here are Cycles Cryptomatte, and with these, when you render out these elements, what you can do is import them into a compositing program like Nuke or After Effects or whatever you use. And then based on those cryptomattes, you can generate masks of any individual objects or groups of objects in your scene. So like here, I've got all these teapots. I could render it out with Cryptomatte, and then inside Nuke, I could pick any single teapot, get a perfect mask of it, and then use that for color correction or whatever other compositing I'd like to use it for. So first of all, I'll show you what's going on with my scene here before I cover how to set up Cryptomatte. It's pretty simple. I've just got a grid of teapots. I've got a camera with a lot of depth of field set, just to show you that this does indeed work with depth of field. And then I also have the teapot split up into two materials, the orange one and the blue one, because one of the Cryptomatte modes allows you to select by material. So I'll go to my render elements here and get to setting it up. So first of all, I'll add the simplest one, which is object name. That is where every object in the scene will be its own selectable object in the Cryptomatte node, or in the Cryptomatte layer. You can just select each of them individually. Now what I want to do, the very important thing to do here, is you want the output file to be set up correctly. And also the name. First I'll do the name. So I'm going to name it 00 because I'll be doing more than one Cryptomatte object layer. And the Cryptomatte convention is the first one is 00, the second one is 01, and so on. So I'll name that 00, and then I'll go down here for my file output. Now it wants to save as PNG by default, which is not okay. You absolutely need to save as EXR. Pick EXR, and then we want to put the 00 in the name, so I'll just call it object 00.exr. I will save it, and then that'll bring you to this EXR configuration panel. What you want to be really careful of here is the type needs to be RGBA, not RGB, and the format needs to be full float 32 bits. If it is half float or if it is integer, it will not work. If it is anything but RGBA here, it will not work. And if you save it as any format except EXR, it will not work. So you need to be very careful. You have all this set up exactly like this, or you're going to have trouble with your Cryptomatte. But now I do have it set up, so I'll say OK. And now, so right now I have one object layer. And what that will let me do is when I import it into a compositor, I'll be able to pick any object out of the scene up to the most two important objects for each pixel. So for example, a normal border between objects like you have right here, there will be two objects sharing a pixel right along that border, and that's fine for one layer. But when you get up to here where there's this object, and the background overlapping at one point like you have right here and right here, there will be three objects sharing a pixel, and that is too much for one Cryptomatte layer to deal with. So then you'll end up getting fuzzy artifacts on the side of your selection, and you don't want that. So the way we deal with this is to just add more layers. So I'll add another object, and I will add a third object, and I will call them object 01 and object 02. And again, I will make sure I'm saving as EXR, so I'll just copy paste the name 01, 02. All right, so I got my object layer set up, and now just as a demonstration, I'm also going to add a material layer. Call this material.exr. And for the material layer and the asset layer, I'm only going to do one layer because that'll be enough to demonstrate. It won't give me perfectly clean selections, but that's fine for my purposes here. Add asset, and asset will save as asset.exr. Again, full float RGBA, okay. All right, so there we go. My layers are all set up. So now I will just make sure I have my render. Yep, I have save file turned on to make sure it will save all those layers to disk. So now I will kick off the render, and then I'll fast forward through this so you don't have to watch the whole thing. And then once we come back, I will show you how to actually do some compositing with these layers we just rendered out. Okay, the render is done, so now we can start using that output for some compositing. And I'm going to be doing that here today in Blender. Now I want to stress that this is not a tutorial on how to use the Blender compositor. That is something I'm not great at and do not know a lot about. I'll just be showing off some very simple usage here just to show what is possible with Cryptomatte. But you should probably not take advice from me on how to use the Blender compositor. So, to get started here, I'll just go to Use Nodes, I'll switch to the Compositing tab, check Use Nodes, clear it out, and then I will add a preview or a viewer node so I can see what I'm doing. I will add a Cryptomatte node to decode our render layers. Then I have all my renders here. I will just take my combined output, I'll pop it into my viewer so I can see what it looks like. That is the image I want. So I will put it in the image input on my Cryptomatte. And now we can start selecting objects. So what I'm going to do is pull in this object 00.exr, not the other two yet, and hook this one up. And now what I can do is look at the pick output from this Cryptomatte node, and it will show me all of the different teapots that I can pick. So I can just click Add. I can click on any one of these teapots. I'll take this big one up front. Now when I look at the matte, it is just the matte for that teapot, and when I look at the image, it is just that teapot perfectly cut out. So that's pretty good, but it won't work that cleanly all the time. So for example, I go back to pick here. I look at some of these teapots, some of these blurrier teapots in the back. Like, let's get rid of the selection here. Let's pick this guy right here in the back row. So now I'll take a look at matte for him. And you can see it's very, where before we had nice clean edges, here you have clean, smooth edges on top. But here near the bottom, there's a bunch of noise. Over here, there's a bunch of noise. Overall, just not a very clean selection. And that is happening because there's those pixels where it's having a problem with the selection have an overlap of more than 2 objects. So that just a single Cryptomatte layer cannot keep track of all that, and it sort of falls apart. So what you can do with that is just bring in your second layer you rendered. So bring in object 01. We'll connect that up to Crypto 01. And you can see now all the edges are much smoother and cleaner. You can also pull in object 02. I don't think this will make a difference because it looked like 01 pretty much fully cleaned it up. Yeah, adding the second one didn't do much there, but it can depending on your setup. But essentially each additional Cryptomatte image you add makes your selection a little bit cleaner. And you can just add as many as you like. So now I'll show off just a quickly how you can use this for color correction. So I won't do that yet. First I'll show off the material. So I'll unselect again, and I will get rid of my object Cryptomatte. So I guess earlier I was running out all these Cryptomattes. I did not really explain it, but you'll only be generally using one of these at a time, kind of one or the other. Before I was showing you object, and now I'll go to material. So plug in material here, and now when I go to pick, I can select by material. So if I select this teapot, it will actually select all of them with that material. And if I select the other teapot material, it will select, it will select all of those. So that's how the material selection works. And then what I can do with that is I can do some simple color correction here. Take the image, or not the image, we'll take this image into the HSV, make this matte into the FAC. So now I have the image like this, and now when I do hue, it will just change that one material. It will change everything that has that material, it will change the hue of. So you can do stuff like that. So that's neat. And then the last thing, which I don't think I really explained earlier, is the asset type. And what this does is, I'll just pop back over to Max here to show you quick. It works based on an object's parent. So in this scene I have all these blue teapots are just independent floating nodes, they have no parent, but all the orange teapots share this point up here as their parent. Which means all of the orange teapots are a single asset altogether, and all the blue teapots are still individual assets. So having an asset mode here, I will kill my selection again, go to pick. So if I pick a blue teapot, it will only do that one blue teapot. But if instead I pick an orange teapot, it will pick every orange teapot because those are all the same asset. And that's really it. That pretty much covers what you can do with Cryptomatte. Obviously, on the compositing side, there's a lot more than what I showed off here, but that is how you save out your Cryptomattes and extract the masks out of them. So I hope you found this video helpful. As always, to keep up with the latest news for the plugin, go to the website at cyclesformax.net. You can also join the Discord linked on that website, and in there you can get access to preview builds with exciting new features. Right now there's a preview build up based on Blender 2.8.3, and that includes support for adaptive sampling, which is great. That will be coming to a proper release soon, but you can get it right now as a preview in the Discord channel. So if you'd like to, stop on by, and thanks for watching.